You are here today with us watching the Falconry Podcast. Glad to have you here today. Today, we're kind of doing a different thing than we had planned. Sort of last minute, some changes here. And we're actually going to be talking about the vital role of predators. And before you're like, no, this is going to be weird. And some of you are going to be like, that ended up being a controversial podcast. Yeah, it is. We got some strong opinions. However, well, I want to make it very clear before we get into this subject and why this subject is coming about. And that is when it comes to food, as humans, eat whatever you want. I am speaking for John and me. You want to eat Twinkies all day? Do it. You want to be a carnivore? Do it. You want to be an omnivore, which is what our species is, and eat a mix of things? Do it. You want to be a vegan, a vegetarian? Do it. Whatever works for you, do it. And hats off to you. Great. My ancestors are from near the North Pole. My ancestors are Sami reindeer herders. You know, the people that Santa Claus and the elves are based off of. My ancestors ate almost nothing but like pike, trout, and reindeer, and every part of the reindeer. But you know what? That's not what I eat. You know, it doesn't matter. Eat what you want to eat. We support it. This is not a preachy thing, but we are talking about something pretty alarming. When I first heard about this, I got so frazzled by it that I abruptly did a video of it on my Facebook page. And it's a topic that is important enough that we thought we'd talk about it. So, John, do you want to talk about the elephant in the room that we're both like, oh?
Absolutely.
Tell us about this.
Well, in this Facebook post, you know, there was some humor involved with Ben. You know, he liked to kind of make people smile about it, but at the same time, there was some serious undertones, and that the message essentially was, you know, do what you want, but don't force me to do that. You know, that was really kind of it. But in this
it's
thread,
not the me isn't the me that we're worried about. You
everybody.
Can preach at me.
Yeah,
it's worse. It's way worse.
Yeah. Oh, yes, actually. So in this thread, someone made a comment about a new movement called herbivorize predators. And you can look it up if you like. It's a real thing, and it's kind of terrifying.
Truly, truly, truly terrifying in every way.
And, you know, it would have an effect on falconry. If you really want to, you know, if we want to keep this on subject, it would. Let's be very clear before we even talk about any of this. This is not going to happen. But
it won't be legalized, it won't be practical.
Right.
But if this kind of stuff is in people's heads, thinking that, this is viable, then you start to have social movements that just think, oh, predators are bad, and supporting predators being what they are is bad. Then you have people trying to make laws to outlaw falconry, which is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. See this peregrine falcon behind us on the screen? It's built to hunt, and that's what it does. If humans went extinct, every human like that went extinct, it would still be out there hunting, even if falconry didn't exist. That's what it does. But this movement, I mean, tell them about. Tell them what their plan is. It's ridiculous.
Their slogan is "Leading evolution compassionately," and first and foremost, if you understand or have any knowledge about how nature works, how ecosystems work, and look, I'll put it out there right now. I'm not a zoologist, not an ecologist, not a biologist. I don't think Ben has those specific credentials, though he's worked in the field. But we are studiers of ecosystems. We are studiers of biology, and this has been a lifelong passion of mine. So, though I may not be that as a professional, I have some knowledge on the area. And the first thing that I want to talk about in terms of this group is that slogan. That slogan, just right off the bat, it's false. There is nothing uncompassionate, is that the word? Or discompassionate? What is the word? Anyway, there's nothing cruel about what happens in nature. It's only cruel because we label it as such.
We humanize it.
We're anthropomorphizing nature. And even then, to me, in my opinion, this is where opinion comes in. Even human predation falls under this same category. It's not uncompassionate.
Now that being said, if we're in a civilization, I agree that we should have, if we're trying to have law and order, we in our human civilizations should have cultural norms, policies, laws that say,
Ethics.
hey, it's ethics that are based off of those things. We should legally and culturally try among our fellow humans to try to have a cohesive society.
Yeah.
Yes. But at the end of the day, if you back way up, nature is nature.
Yep. Nature
And
is nature.
it's going to do what it's going to do. And this movement is trying to say that predators are inherently bad for being predators, that they
That's
are
right.
cruel.
That they are not compassionate, that they are cruel, and their goal is to use artificial means to take predators and evolve them. And I think that there's a problem with that particular term in this case, because they believe that evolution means get better. That's not what evolution means. It means to adapt. It means to adapt through process of selective breeding. And we're not talking about artificial selective breeding. We're talking about selective breeding through
External pressures,
external pressures, through natural
and external
pressures,
opportunities, right?
And so what they're suggesting is artificial genetic manipulation.
Wait. First, okay. Let's do the other bad ones and then do that.
Okay.
And then so the big predators, they're like, we should kill them off, or we should sterilize them so they kill themselves off, so they can't breed. Within a generation or two, all the big predators are gone. And then some of the smaller predators, we should, and now tell them about that.
Yep.
Which, first of all, that's just wrong to be like, you're bad because you're a tiger. Blamity blam. You're cruel, so we're going to kill you because that's compassionate. We're going to sterilize you so that you can't have any offspring. Yes. By the way, I hope we don't get flagged for using this word, but there's a word for this. This is a projecting it onto nature, but basically it's eugenics. I don't want to elaborate on that because I don't know my YouTube policies well enough to know if that's going to get flagged for what it's associated with. Look up eugenics and understand that this movement is trying to do this on animals. So sterilize or kill the big predators, and then the small carnivores, what are they going to do?
They are going to genetically modify them through, they have a whole bunch of different means, and they're talking about different research to essentially guide their evolution into changing them into, from predators to herbivores, from carnivores into herbivores.
Which is impossible.
And yeah, and I think the biggest reason why it's possible is not because we already know that we can alter the evolutionary tract of different species. We've done it through domestication, but nature abhors a vacuum, and evolution is the tool in which nature uses. That's the tool that nature uses to fill vacuums. So you look no further than the Galapagos Islands. You have all of these mainland species that end up in the Galapagos Island, and the niche that they fill is already being filled by existing species or other species that migrated or ended up there. But there's a gap. There's a niche. And though it's been able to survive trying to compete, it has a mutation that just so happens to slot it into this niche. Just a few individuals is all it really takes. And over a long period of time, the ones that fill that niche breed more. It's breeding pressures. It's evolutionary
if you can
pressures.
take an advantage of an opportunity like that, if you have, like, there's all kinds of water birds, but there's nothing filling the role of a penguin, and penguins, of course, you got penguins on the equator, the Galapagos Islands, but you have fish hunting cormorants that no longer needed to fly and lost that. So you have flightless cormorants. So you've got different nature abhors vacuum, like you said, John.
And it can happen very rapidly because when the idea of evolution was not first presented, but I'm talking about more and more modern days when we've started exploring the details of how it functions. We've discovered that in certain circumstances, one in particular, islands, which is a geological separation from any other population, and small populations, they can evolve very quickly, right? So let's say you do something drastic, and I'm going to just say it, stupid, and you remove all of the predators from a specific location. For one thing, you're going to be causing some ecological disaster, because let's say that you do that out here in the high desert. Let's just say you somehow moronically go out and slaughter every predator out in our area.
Say in our area, kill every golden eagle and hawk, every badger, every
Yeah.
bobcat, every cougar, every coyote, every fox.
Yep. All of a sudden,
Every
you're
owl.
going to have a massive explosion of herbivores. And while at that point in the process, these people are going to celebrate. Oh, yeah. Look, all of the animals are so nice. Yeah, wait a little while. I've got a picture that I'm going to send you to put up right here. And what's going to end up happening is that you're going to have a massive growth in their population and then a massive crash in their population. And then finally it's going to level out. But during that leveling out period, and I can't tell you exactly when that's going to occur, because again, I'm not a biologist, but really rapidly, you're going to have a massive vacuum that's going to get filled in a very quick way by who knows what species. And convergent evolution is going to kick in, and you're going to start seeing species with, oddly enough, similar traits to the ones you killed. Maybe not in your lifetime. Maybe not in 10 lifetimes, but it's going to happen.
Because there is no waste in nature. There is absolutely no waste in nature. I mean, that's why you have you see everything repurposed. That's why do you have bats that are insectivores? Some of them have now just target and only eat night blooming flowers. And you have the other extreme. You have some that are giant and they're diurnal and they only eat fruit. And you have some like the spectral bat in Mesoamerica that eats birds. You have a bird hunting bat. If there's opportunity, nature goes that way. But I'm just shocked that a movement that has gained momentum tries to think that, hey, the only real problem that makes you a carnivore is like, well, we'll just genetically engineer you to have a different kind of stomach. It's like, you can't, it's like, that's like saying, oh, okay, I'm going to take, I don't know, I'm going to take a minivan and I'm going to put a spark plug from a sports car in it, and now it's a sports car. It's not how it goes. So I hate talking. I want to show what I'm talking about. See this? Hold on, take a good look at that. Okay. That is the pelvis of a camel. Look how splayed it is. It fans outward. Compare that. Let's look at the pelvis of a lion. Okay. Look how that does not splay. We're talking about the iliac crest up here. Doesn't splay out. It does fan out. Yeah, lousy camera. So what the point of that is, there's so much more to making an animal a carnivore, an omnivore, or a herbivore, right? Plants are nutritiously deficient. They're filled with nutrients, vitamins and stuff your body needs. But what I'm saying is, to convert a raw plant to usable energy is difficult. Don't believe me? Think about it. Why does a camel have this big old wide pelvis? To accommodate an infinitely longer gastrointestinal tract and 4 stomachs. And they chew, goes down to their first stomach, grinds it up, they spit it back up and chew it more, and they keep doing that. And when it comes out as poop, it looks like it started. It's hardly had anything extracted from it. And when do you ever see a buffalo or a camel or a cow stop eating? Never. If they are awake, they are nonstop eating. What about a lion? That lion, they're like, oh, we just had a really big meal. And then they're like, okay. And they might not eat for days.
Yeah.
Okay. They have a much shorter intestinal tract. They only have one stomach. And so their pelvis can be narrow, because it doesn't have to splay to make room for a bigger viscera. This is just how it is.
We have elements in common with both. However, if you really do the comparison, we have a stomach that is more similar to a lion than
Correct.
your straight herbivores. That doesn't mean that we're meant to be carnivores. That's not what I'm saying. We are omnivores. The fact that we adapted to eat meat is a large part of why we're as intelligent as we are, because in order to fuel a large brain, you have to have high calorie content, something that is very difficult to get without mass farming from plants.
And we're not telling you that that's what you have to eat or
No.
should eat. We're just saying, biologically speaking, we have front predator teeth. We have the molars of a herbivore. We have the stomach of and the intestines, by and large, mostly of a carnivore. We have the pelvis that is right in between.
Mm-hmm.
Our pelvis is fairly splayed, and if you look at our closest relatives, theirs are totally splayed, and yet they still do eat a little bit of meat. But the point is, we're omnivores. We can look at that, right? You can make a choice. And because we're the ones, meaning humans, that are making podcasts or making like these herbivorized carnivores movements, we're doing it through the lens of humanity, which is like, oh, hey, maybe I've chosen to eat a different way. I'm going to be vegan, and therefore now I'm not saying all vegans are this way. They're not. But the people with this movement are saying, I think it's cruel to eat meat. Therefore, I'm going to pull back and say, I think all the animals should also live this way. I was able to. Therefore, they should be made to. They should be made to. The entire direction of their species should be permanently altered. Predators should be wiped out, because I think it's cruel if they live and hunt other animals. It's just wrong.
Yep.
This is, if we want to take it back to falconry, this is one of the most important and valuable purposes of falconry. Our species has gotten apparently off track enough with understanding the natural world we're part of that we could be like, let's wipe out the predators. That's wise. Let's genetically engineer them. If we're thinking that, that means we're fundamentally disconnected from nature and understanding what it is. Falconry makes you see it. Falconry makes you see this is a predator. It has to live. It has to hunt. You can't just give it hamburger. You can't just give it lettuce. It's a hunting machine. It's what it's built to do. And you don't have to like it. It's okay to be like, oh, I can't stomach that kind of stuff. I want to step back from it. But it's like, why am I forgetting his name? Help me out here. Africa, World War II era. I'm killing myself with this. Albert Schweitzer said, without death, there is no life. And he taught it is possible to live any form of life and still have a reverence for life. Albert Schweitzer understood that all life was alive. He understood that plants were alive, animals were alive, the crops you eat and butcher down while they're alive. They don't want to be cut down, but they're alive. Mushrooms are alive. He understood that. And he taught principles about you can be a hunter. You can be a farmer. You can be a butcher. You can be a poultry raiser and still have a reverence and a respect for life.
Yeah.
But the fact is,
I think that actually hooks in real well with falconry, because most falconers, you'll find, are pretty staunch conservationists, where they want to conserve nature. Hawks, falcons, and prey species, believe it or not, are all included. And I get a kick out of seeing some, social media posts that have people respond to them saying things like, oh, well, why? Oh, but it's so cruel that you're out there killing animals. And the idea doesn't even dawn on them that this is a prey species being pursued by a natural predator. And that natural predator needs to eat just like you or me. And, I've even seen stupid responses along the lines of, well, couldn't we just develop a hawk food like cat food or dog food? And I'm like, what do you think that stuff is made from?
Animals go read your ingredients. There are dead chicken, dead fish, dead beef, sheep, all those things in your dog and cat food. They have just been cooked along with other things, other fillers like corn and stuff that aren't good for animals, and
Yeah.
cooked and compressed into a little star. It's cat food. No, it's dead animals and dead plants. It is.
Usually the parts of them that we don't want is usually what it
Mm-hmm.
really gets down to. But I just think that it's important that people are aware that this type of thing exists, and I think that we all, as falconers, we end up in this educational role. I can't tell you the number of times that I've been out hawking, my birds caught something, somebody's driving by or something, or walking by or hiking or something, and sees me and they're like, "Hey, what you doing there? Isn't that illegal?" And then I, have to start into the whole thing of explaining, no, it's not illegal. This is what I'm doing. You know, they have no idea that the bird flies free. They have no idea that the bird hunts on its own or hunts with me. I think that because of these types of things, we're naturally thrown in to that education realm, whether we're good at it or not, is another thing. But because of that, I think that we do need to be aware of things like this, because I don't think that this is ever going to happen. First and foremost,
Well,
I don't think it's
yeah,
possible. It's ridiculous, but
but the court of public opinion, it's bad that these kind of movements, like, and let me say, hey, I can respect if a person is saying, I don't like the thought of anything suffering. Okay, that
neither
sounds
do
good.
I.
That's coming from a good place, but you're trying to force your biologically incorrect view on nature itself, and that's not good. So if this gets back to anybody watching who's part of that movement, you're wrong. But I can at least respect and salute that you think you're pushing for good things. But this is nature,
Yep.
down to the very microscopic world. Microbes are fighting each other, and plants battle each other for dominance of space. Plant roots underground parasitize and attack each other. Everything. It is a circle of life and death and life. Without life, without death, there is no life. There is nothing any life form can eat. Well, I thought of an exception. Give me. But I'm going to make my statement first. There is nothing that a plant, an animal, an insect, a microbe can eat that either isn't alive, wasn't alive, or came from something alive. And then I'm like, oh, there are a few species of bacteria that just like eat like sulfur and stuff. But those are extremophiles that are very much the exception to the rule. My point is, something living in some way gave of itself for you if you were alive. And it's the same thing for an elk, and it's the same thing for a plant. Plants are eating decomposed microbes and decomposed organics that were living things, living plants and animals. They have to. That's just nature. It
Yeah,
just is.
what is that movement going to do about the bacterium that kill each other, that they're predatory?
Yeah,
How
are
are they
they
going
going
to
to
fix
go?
that?
We've got to go under microscopes and start sterilizing predatory bacteria.
The truth of the matter is, what they care about is animals that they think are cute.
Mm.
It's anthropomorphization at its best. They're associating that cute bunny rabbit with somehow it being above predation,
Mm-hmm.
because they like it. They like this animal. They don't like this animal, and I think it's ridiculous.
Now, what are you going to do? The breeding cycles of prey animals like rodents and lagomorphs like rabbits are based off of the fact that most of their young are going to be eaten in any given year. So what are you going to do about that? You're genetically engineering all the predators. Are you going to genetically engineer all the prey as well? Well, we need rabbits to now have 99% less offspring. How are you going to orchestrate that genetic alteration? Otherwise, with no immediate predation, they all starve to death. Isn't that worse than I would rather, as a rabbit, be attacked and fairly quickly killed by a golden eagle or a coyote than to slowly wither away and starve to death? Ugh.
Along with your entire family
Your
and most
entire
of your
family and progeny.
yeah.
You know, it's meant well. I'm sure these folks mean well, but it's not tenable. It's biologically wrong, and it's a dangerous type of mentality to have starting to permeate our culture. And I think falconry is very counter to that. Falconry is saying, hey, I've talked about it in past videos. There's this circle of life and death, and humans have tried to pop ourselves out of it and say, no, we don't want to be part of the food chain actively. We're going to grow our own food. Falconry is acknowledging there is this circle, and it's reaching into that circle and trying to still have a foot in the natural cycle instead of just doing it in some sterile, predetermined way.
Yep.
Blah, blah, blah. This is the rantiest I've ever been on here. Yeah, no idea, humans. I don't know. Do we want to address it anymore? Do you think we hit it pretty hard?
I think we've done it.
Well, before we wrap up, I gotta say then, last week's skull. It's hard to get in the camera there. Ceratosaurus. It was Ceratosaurus, one of my absolute favorite dinosaurs. For next week, it's going to be a little trickier. Here we go. It is an ulna. It's not complete. Part of it's busted off, and part of it had carbon dating chunk taken out. Okay, but this ulna is about the same size as my. Oh, geez, camera. It matches up me. It's female. It's a predator. And it's from the Ice Age. Now, when I say match, as far as measurements, not width, this is an animal much stronger than me. This animal weighed about 1,200 pounds at the biggest. It's a predator. This one's a female. And it's from the Ice Age. And it's from the New World, North America. See if you can get it. And no, it's not that. Okay, John, tell them about your channel.
Yeah, I run a channel called Falcon's Ledge. We do flight sim and space sim hardware reviews. Stuff kind of similar to this thing right here. And
that particular, wait, hold it up again, right? Okay, that right there is male, and it's from the Holocene.
It hails out of China.
It's a predatory species.
Usually, because the motto of my channel is "We blow stuff up here," so predatory is probably pretty accurate. But yeah, check me out. It's called Falcon's Ledge on YouTube.
And those of you watching my channel, I appreciate it. You can also get my book, Trapping Essentials, from Western Sporting Publications online. Yeah, we just appreciate you guys, all your support and listening. Let us know down in the comments what other topics you would like us to talk about, discuss, or rant on in this case. If you're not used to us ranting, thank you for your patience with this particular episode. We appreciate y'all, and as always, happy hawking.